If you stop frying your brain, you can take away the pain.
Get started, and if you guys are just tuning in, do me a favor, hit the like button, hit the share button, and invite, what's up, Doc? Hey, Bobby. Invite everybody you can to this feed. I'm going to do a quick, video on enabling and my experience with it, because it's deadly. It's deadly, and you know, the fact of the matter is, the biggest part of the demographic which tunes into our videos and stuff like that is a lot of family, a lot of mothers. You know, they're wondering what's going on in the minds of their addicted son or addicted daughter or whatever the case may be, and I'm going to share my experience. You know, I'm going to share my experience as to the way I thought and manipulation methods that I used and how it benefited me in active addiction. So if you guys are just tuning in, please do me a major favor, a big favor, and invite everybody that you can to this video and share it, please. I have an important message. I'll give it another minute or so, and then we'll get rocking and rolling. Alright guys, my name's Rich Walters. I'm from Parkersburg, West Virginia. I created Hope Dealers Live a couple of weeks ago to create a platform for people to get on here and to share their hope and to share their experiences and stuff like that through going through addiction, coming out on the other end and sharing a message of freedom and sharing a message of recovery and sharing a message of inspiration and a message of hope. And it's worked out well. You know, it's really worked out well. We've been able to carry a message that's extending far and wide, matter of fact, across the globe. And I'm so grateful to be a part of something so wonderful. I really am blessed. You know, it just so happens that recovery is a big part of my life. You know, it is my life. Recovery and family, it is my life. And there's a reason for that. There's a reason for that. It's because when I was out there drinking and drugging and running and gunning, I made that my life, you know. So I come into recovery and I find a new freedom and a new happiness. Is kind of what I talked about today in a status, and I've made that my life. And I don't intend on looking back, you know. So I want to talk today a little bit about enabling, and the reason being is because, like I said, most of the time, most of the people who tune into our videos and who message us and who want to know, who want information and want to know, you know, what they can do and this, that, and the other, are a lot of mothers. A lot of mothers, a lot of fathers, a lot of family members, and they're scared. You know, they're scared. And my experience was that my family would have loved me right into the ground because they didn't know what else to do. They just didn't know what else to do. You know, they hated seeing me sick. But I want to go ahead and start back from day one. You know, long before I ever became an alcoholic and a drug addict, I suffered from a spiritual sickness, you know, a spiritual malady, and I couldn't tell the truth. I couldn't tell the truth. I remember at a young age trading baseball cards with kids and stuff like that and ripping them off, and their parents calling my parents and complaining about me stealing little Danny's, or me ripping little Danny's family heirloom baseball card collection off of him and would want his cards back. You know, and I learned how to lie and manipulate, and I learned how to hone in on those skills at a young age. And it was really through positive reinforcement with my parents. I used to fight and stuff like that a lot when I was a little kid. You know, I'd fight in grade school a lot and you know, beat a lot of kids up and stuff like that. And I'd get in trouble, and what I'd do is I'd just lie. I'd lie as to the reason why. You know, my mom was always asking me, you know, why did you get in a fight today? You know, why are you in trouble today? Why did you do this? Why did you hit so and so? Why did you, you know, this, that, and the other at a young age? And I didn't ever want to tell her the truth, that I was just something was wrong with me. You know, and I just like to punch people. So I lied. I'd lie. And I'd tell her stuff like the kids was calling her names. You know, I'd tell her stuff like the kids was calling my sister, kids was calling our family names. You know, and she'd buy it. And she'd buy it. You know, and she could never see me doing wrong. She never could. In her eyes, I was never doing wrong. And I'd do the same thing at home. I'd do something, get in a big fight, tear things up. I'm talking from a young age. I'd tear things up at the house. I'd do something where I'd take something from my sisters or whatever. They'd go screaming and crying to mom, and I'd lie, and they'd defend me and take my side. And so I learned at a young age to lie, and I learned how I could benefit from lying, and I learned that I was pretty good at it. Okay. And so what I did, I carried that into my younger teenage years. I picked up the first time when I was 13 years old. And what it is that when you take somebody who's manipulative and lying, and you bring alcohol and drugs into the mix, you create this well-oiled lying, manipulating machine. And that's what happened. That's what happened. And so I'd go throughout my life, and I was just. My parents didn't ever want me to drink or get drunk or do drugs. They never did. They were the kind of parents who was always down my throat and all this other stuff. And so I learned how to lie. I learned how to lie about who I was hanging out with. I learned how to lie about the things that I was doing and all this stuff. And they always bought it. They always bought it. As long as I played sports and did decent in school, they were cool. They were really cool. So they'd buy the lies about my personal life and stuff like that. But it really didn't get bad. And it really didn't start really having a terrible and negative effect on my family until about 2004 is when addiction really, really rocked me. Those last 10 years I was out there were complete and utter chaos. And in 2004 was when I stepped into the heavy, I'm talking heavy cocaine and opiate addiction. And for anybody who knows what that's like and anybody who knows what it's like to be a slave to any of those two things, you learn to lie, steal, and manipulate a lot. A lot of times I was coming up on short on money, and guess who would have to foot the bill? Guess who'd have to foot the difference? Mom and dad, or my grandfather, or whoever. Like I said, they babied me, they enabled me. It wasn't that they babied me, they just loved me. They didn't know how to tell me no, because I was the person who could paint such a bad picture as to why I needed this money, and if I didn't come up with it, it didn't matter about how much it was. Let me tell you that much right now. And if I didn't come up with it, what these catastrophic consequences may or may not be. And they would always buy into that, and I used their love against them. I used their love against them for a long time. Because I knew that they would never cut me off. I knew that they would never turn their back on me. And I used that to my advantage. I really did. It starts coming around this time, and like I said, I'm into the opiates, I'm into the cocaine really heavy in 2004, all the way up until until I stopped. I just switched substances and took it all the way to the end, which was 2014. But there was a lot of times, like I said, I'd come up short on money, or I'd be sick. You guys ever had that happen before? When you got attached to the opiates, you got addicted to the opiates. The next thing you know, you're using everything. If you're going to a doctor and you're getting pills, you're using all of them within 2 days. So for the next 28 days of the month, you're on that running and gunning cycle, and you're trying to just steal, lie, manipulate to get well every other day of the month. That was me. And the bad part about it was there are things I don't want to say for my family's sake. As to how deeply they enabled me, but believe me when I tell you, they would have loved me right into the ground because they didn't want to see me sick, and they didn't want to see me miserable. And when I'd be out like that, or I'd be dope sick in the mornings and stuff like that, what I'd do is I'd just pour on the poor me, the victim mentality, the self pity, and tell them, please, can you please take care of me, or float me this amount of money and I'll get you back here in a couple of days, and I never did get them back, and then it would be a couple of days later, float me this amount of money and I'll get you back here in a couple of days, and I promise I'm going to get with you. I promise, one of these days, Mom, one of these days, Dad, one of these days, Judy means grandfather, one of these days, I'm going to get on my feet, and when I do, I promise that I'm going to take care of you for everything that you've ever done for me, And I meant that, and that would have happened had I not gotten so bad off. That would have happened, but I just couldn't get a grip. I couldn't get a foothold on this whole addiction thing. It had me lit, and the harder I tried to get a hold on it, the worse it became, and the deeper I dug myself. Like I said, there was a lot of times when they had pain medication and stuff like that, for different ailments that they had, and I'd steal it. I'd do whatever it took. And rather than them just calling the cops on me like they should have and done that, they just they got mad at me, for a day or two, and that was about it. They always kept me right above a bottom. Can any of you guys relate to that who's watching this video, that if the people who enable you and love you, what they do is they prevent you from ever hitting a solid bottom. Okay, they prevent you from ever just crashing and burning, okay? My bottom was super low for a long time. And I was always right down there skimming off the bottom, right? But they would always lift me right back up a little bit above that bottom, okay? They would never let me sit down there long enough to make something snap within me to want to change, because what they would end up doing is they'd ultimately they'd give me a cushion. They'd lift me up. And it almost killed. It did kill me. It did kill me. It got me in a lot of trouble. You go later on into my addiction and stuff like that, and I'm starting to get arrested and stuff like that. The worst thing that you could do to somebody who was as strung out and screwed up as I was bail them out of jail every time they called. And that's what they'd do. It didn't matter how much the bond was. It didn't matter any of that stuff. I'd call and I'd be sick as heck. I'd be so sick from jail. Obviously, anybody who's detoxed in jail knows what it's like. I've been out there 50 times. I don't know how many times I've been out there. But I was always so sick because I never was sober. I never was. I was always dope sick and going to jail. And I was also, guys, my thinking was so screwed up. And I was so delusional. And I had such this delusion of pride. I'd go to jail. And they'd be doing our intake, at the front of the jail and all that stuff. And they'd be like, you addicted to anything? And I'd say, no, not me, not me. Rather than just telling them the truth and letting them medical detox me or whatever the case was and keep me in medical until I was better, I was too proud to act like I was strung out on drugs. So I'd go right back into the pod and I'd be miserable. Miserable. I'm talking sick. Just so sick. And the whole time in the pod, I'm clipping the phone. You got to get me out of here. You got to get me out of here. I'm sick. I'm miserable. I'm going nuts. Because that's what happens to a person like me when I'm dry. When I don't have something in me, this thing in here doesn't shut down. This thing in here doesn't shut down. This is the worst. And when that jail door shuts at night and you're sitting in that cell, just you on you with everything that you had done, the past couple of years prior to that, and all that stuff's running through your sober, dry mind, and you don't have anything to shut it down, that's a terrible place to be. That's the worst place to be. Stark raving sober or dry. And I was there quite a few times. Several times. They just kept loving me along and keeping me above this bottom. And it was the worst thing they could have ever done to me because they didn't know anything about Al-Anon. They didn't know anything about Nar-Anon. They didn't know anything about it being a disease. None of us did. No one in my family had ever. The only other person who had really suffered as badly as I did was my Uncle Mike, and he shot himself in 2006 from untreated alcoholism. He was. That's exactly what it was. He never made it to the rooms. He never found a solution. And he shot himself right in front of my grandfather. And it devastated our family. It completely crushed our family. But, me, I take his suicide and I take his death and I make it about me. I do what I do best. And I make everything about me, and I use it as another manipulation tactic, another self-pity tactic, another victim mode tactic, and I use it in order to continue to get what I need and what I want when I need it and when I want it from them or from anybody else out here in public. It didn't matter if it was a woman, a drug dealer, a bar, or whatever. I made you feel sorry for me. And the unfortunate thing about it is that he was just like me, and he just never made it and found the solution. And that's what happens to us. When we're stark raving sober, or when we're dry, we'll skip past the needle, we'll skip past the bottle, we'll skip past the pipe, we'll skip past all that stuff and pick up the gun and kill ourselves. That's reality. That's where untreated addiction gets you. That's where untreated alcoholism gets you. It gets us suicide. And so what happened was they just kept keeping me above my bottom, and they kept preventing me from hitting this real good, solid bottom. because I was slick. I would make them so many sweet. How many of you guys have ever done this? You come home, you're coming out of the tail end of a spree, you're coming out of jail, you're coming out of all these different, or you're on the phone from jail, and you're saying to the people you love, you're saying to the people who care about you the most, and the people who you hurt the most, because the ones that love us the most are the ones that we hurt the most. The worst thing you can do is love me when I'm in active addiction, because I'm going to hurt you. I'm going to use your love against you, and I'm going to hurt you. But you'd call from jail or you'd call from wherever and you'd be like, I'm never doing this again. I'm never, ever, ever doing this again. I swear to God. I used to do this all the time. I swear to God. I swear to God on a stack of Bibles. I swear on my kids' lives. I swear on your life, Mom. I swear on your life, Dad. I swear on my own life. I swear on everything that I love that I don't want to do it anymore. And guys, I got to tell you, from the bottom of my heart, if you'd have hooked me up to a lie detector test, I meant everything that I said. I meant it with everything in me. I didn't want to do it. But I was right back at it. I was always right back at it. I didn't have any defense. I didn't have any defense against the first drink of the first drug. I was powerless. I lost that power to choose whether or not I was going to get drunk or high. I don't know when I crossed that line and lost that power, but I knew it was probably 10 years before I'd stopped. Maybe longer. And I did that over and over and over, guys. I'm talking hundreds of times. Or I'd come out of a long spree, right? And let's say this is one of the chances where I wasn't in jail, and because I'd be in jail and I'd be calling Mom and Dad, and or whoever else, Mom or Jiddu, and I'd be like, I got to get out of here. You got to post bond. You got to call my attorney. Get me out of here. Get me out of here. I don't care what the bond is. I'll pay you back whenever I get out. Just let's post bond. Let's make bond. And they would do it every time. But let's say that it wasn't one of those situations and I wasn't in jail. I'd just go through a spree. And there was a lot of times when I worked, guys, and I had a really good job. I had a great job, for a long time. Until they found out who I was, until they came to know me. And, after, what would happen is I'd go through these sprees. I'd come out on the tail end of these sprees and I'd already spent $2,000, $3,000, $4,000 in a couple of days. Or more. There was a time period when I was making $15,000 a month, and I'm getting paid $7,500 to $8,000 every 2 weeks, and I'm literally blowing that $7,500 to $8,000 in a week. So I'm having to get money advances because at this point I've created a monster so bad with my addiction. It's taken that amount of money. It's taken that big, large sum of money. It's taken that much in order to keep me well until the next check. So I got a whole nother week that I have to go with no money. So what do? I borrow. And I use the people who love me the most. And I use their love against them. And what do? I borrow money from them. And say, I got to borrow money from you until my next check comes. The next check comes, guess what? I'm back on the same thing. Same thing happens. I did this over and over and over and over and over and over and over for years. I used my parents' love against them. I used my grandparents' love against them. I turned it on them. Because like I said, the worst thing you can do is to an addict, an active addict like me, or an active alcoholic like me, an active addiction, is love me. That's the worst thing you can do. Because I'm going to take advantage of you. I'm going to use your love against you, and I'm going to take advantage of you every single time. Guys, I did that, and I did that, and I did that, and I did that, and I did that. Up until the bitter end. Until there was nothing left to spend. Everything was gone. Everything was depleted. And I'd had enough. I spent it all. What I did to my family is... it's irreconcilable. The only thing that I can do from this point is make a living amends and be a better son, or be a better grandson, or be a better this, or be a better that. Because honestly, financially, I'll probably never be able to pay them back for everything that they did to me, or everything they did for me. They were my crutch. They were my life support for a long time. But I've made peace with that. And the reason why I've made peace with that is because I turn around and I'm a better son. I turn around and I'm a better grandson than I ever was before. and I'm able to love them and to be there for them emotionally. And I'm able to help them whenever I can. I could never help anybody before. I couldn't help myself. I was done. I was cooked. And ultimately what happened was like I said, we run out of resources. I spent it all. I used it all. And I was at the end of my rope. And I did the first thing that I did, the only wise, clear decision that I'd made in many years was reach out for help. April 28th, 2014, and I went into treatment. And I've been sober ever since. I've been clean and sober ever since. And thank God for it, Since then, they've got their son back. Since then, they've got their grandson back. But it doesn't, the only thing I can do to restore the damage from the past is continue to be the best person that I can today. They're proud of me today. They're proud of the man that I am today because I literally dedicate my life to giving back. I literally dedicate my life to helping as many people as possible. But now that the shoe's on the other foot, now that I'm sober, now I have loved ones who are actively getting high and actively using. People who I love with all my heart, dearly. And so what's my solution? How do I deal with it when the shoe's on the other foot? And this is for you moms and dads out there. This is for you brothers and sisters out there. This is for the husbands and wives who are dealing with the active alcoholic or drug addict. And the answer is this. You have to love them from a distance. You can't play God in their life. You won't never get them sober. You'll never get them sober. If the man or woman is to find God, or if the man or woman is to find recovery, or if the man or woman is to find something, the desire must come from within. You can't want it. They won't get sober because you want it more than them. They won't. The desire has to come from within. So what you have to do is you have to cut them off as far as you can't give them money anymore. Believe me, every time they ask you for money, I don't care what they say, 99.9% of the time, it is to get a fix. Okay? Honestly, if they've been stealing from you, if they've been stealing out of your house and stuff like that, the best thing that you can do is stop letting them come there. If they steal something big enough from you, call the cops on them, let them get picked up, let them go dry out in jail, and from jail, hopefully they can get with the right judge, the right prosecutor, and they will if they're a drug addict of my type, and what they'll do from there is to get them into treatment, and they'll find the treatment they need. People need treated. Jail and prison does not treat untreated alcoholism. Jail and prison does not treat untreated drug addiction. It'll dry you out. It'll dry you out long enough to where if you want the solution that I have and want the solution that other people have, you'll be able to get that solution and be receptive to it. But it's not going to fix you if you're like me. It's just not going to do it. So the only thing that you can do at this point, if you have a loved one who is actively getting high and running and gunning and using and doing everything, using and abusing, the only thing that you can do at this point is love them from a distance. The only thing that you can do at this point is stop trying to control their life. And it's tough. That's the hardest part. It's the hardest part to let go of someone you love and allow them to hit the bottom that they need to hit. And you want to know why it's so hard? Especially right now in this day and age? Is because they look at the newspapers. They look at social media. And they look at the news. And they see all the overdose deaths that are taking place. And they are terrified. They are absolutely terrified that that's what is going to happen to their loved ones. They are absolutely terrified that they're going to get that phone call. But if they don't cut them loose and they don't love them from a distance, then what they're going to do is they're going to prevent them from ever finding God. And I don't mean God. I mean the gift of desperation. That gift of desperation, that feeling of hopelessness, is a gift. It's a gift that I had. It's a gift that many of my brothers and sisters who are in recovery, who are on fire right now, have had. And it's a gift. It's a gift if you're an alcoholic or a drug addict of my type. And I would have never found it if they would have kept lifting me above that bottom. I had to be out of options and out of choice. Because I'll tell you this right now. As long as I have choice, it'll never be recovery. As long as I have choice, It'll never be a power greater than myself. As long as I have choice, it'll never be treatment. I have to be completely out of choice. And see, the problem here is that most parents and grandparents continue to give them choices and continue to give them options. And it kills them. So what the deal is this. You can honestly love, you can love your son or daughter. You can love them right into a grave. You can love them right into a ground. And it's not because you're a bad mom or a bad dad. It's because you just don't know what to do. And the only natural thing to do as a parent is to love your child. It's a tough situation. And it's really tough because we get to deal with a lot of the parents and a lot of the families of the addicted, the sick and suffering. And they're the ones that take the biggest beating. My hat goes off to any of the parents who have ever been through it and survived and stayed sane. It's got to be one of the hardest things in the world to do, especially if you don't have a solution to your problems. But listen, if you're a part of this thing, or if this is happening to you, and you want people to talk to, and you need to find people to reach out to, and you need to find a group of support, a support group that you can get in touch with, who can help guide you through these situations, who can help guide you through these experiences, then please reach out to me. Go to my personal page, Rich Walters, or come to Hope Dealers Live right now, where I'm going live from, and message us. And what I'll do is I'll plug you into the Nar-Anon women. I'll plug you into the Al-Anon women. And I'll plug you into the people that you need to get plugged into that can help you get through this. Not only help you get through this, but help you get through this with grace and dignity. Not only help you get through this with grace and dignity, but help you get through this with peace and serenity. And that's everything. Above all, that's everything. And once you start setting that power of example that you're going through what they're going through, or that you're going through this as they're actively using and stuff like that, and they see you with calm, peace, and serenity over your face, and they see the power of example that you're setting, and you're demonstrating that power through their life, they're going to want to know where you found that. And they're going to want what you have. And that's when you can direct them to us, the people in recovery. And that's when we do what we do best. We work with them, and we take them through a process, a transformative process, which will give them a new freedom and a new happiness, far beyond the greatest thing that they ever could have imagined in their entire life. And then, maybe then, you'll get your son or daughter back. I pray to God that everyone finds recovery. Unfortunately, that's not the way it works. But I pray to God that everybody does find recovery. And that's my spiel on enabling. It almost killed me. So if you guys want help, please reach out. Don't hesitate to reach out to me. My name is Rich Walters. I'm from Parkersburg, West Virginia. Go to Hope Dealers Live. Just continue to reach out. We have a huge network of people. I have several people that you can call, you can get in touch with. I have a lot of people that I can delegate, certain different areas of recovery to you. If you need something in particular, if you have any kind of specialty or anything like that, I can help you out and I can get you into the hands of the people that you need to get into the hands of. But as far as that goes, guys, if you're just tuning in, please let me know if you can relate to anything that I just said. Please share this video. Please share this video. Get it out there so the mothers and fathers of this world can see exactly what it is that they're up against and see what their options are. Because, guys, we need more help and we need more resources, and it needs to be known that there is a solution. And I found it, and a lot of other people have found it. Reach out.
www.stopfryingyourbrain.com.